Hello, welcome to the goodbye/bonus video for the MOOC. I'm Carly, I was a mentor on the MOOC.
And I'm Adam Smith, I was a co-lead educator on the course this year.
And this is just our video to say thank you for taking part in the course and to kind of give you some of our favourite moments and highlights from the past 6 weeks.
So Carly, what do you think has been one of the highlights for you? What stood out, what springs to mind?
Where to start? I suppose one of my highlights personally was the extra step on the Gothic week where you had to draw your own castle. So I really enjoyed that because it showed how people were visualising the Gothic in really imaginative ways, and I really enjoyed seeing people's submissions for that.
It's really interesting, that step as well, because that's one of the... So this is the second time that we've run this course, and there's been a lot of new material this time. We worked really hard to add as much as we could. There was these new material condition steps where we were going into special collections, and developing that with the team was really exciting. It went down, so well. Some of the discussions that's prompted were extraordinary. But in addition to this new material, we've had steps which were there last year, and that is one. And yet, it's just amazing to see. I think it does. You should do these things more than once. They warrant revisiting because it was such a different response this time. Both incredibly creative, but not the same. I wondered to what extent we get the same sort of responses, but it's been so different. It's been, even with the steps that were there before, it's been like a radically new thing, hasn't it? Do you not think?
Yeah, it's been like a totally different course. So whilst there are still some things that have been repeated from the previous course, it's been bulked out a lot this time. So there's so much more material. There's the archive steps, which is a really interesting new addition, which I think people have really enjoyed, including us. And the visit to Sadie's House Brewery was a great additional step to give a little bit more social, historical context to that particular
text.
It's
a good excuse to go to the pub as well.
And yeah, exactly, most importantly.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that stood out for me, or one of the things that I found has been really interesting this time is having the blog as well. Because as you said, it's a more expansive experience. And the blog was there for other people to get involved who weren't necessarily educators on the course or mentors on the course to sort of pitch in. And there really does seem, in the department here at Sheffield, there does seem to have been a real buzz about it, and people have been really keen to get involved. So we had 5 or 6 blog posts scheduled by PhD students and postgraduates who are doing material that was related. But then in addition to that, people have just been coming forward and volunteering posts. So we've had some wonderful PhD student posts, and also educators have been writing blog posts. They've been taking time out of their schedule to write posts that explicitly respond to things that have happened on the platform. So like the why don't they wear white gloves in archives response that Amber wrote, which was a direct response to conversations that happened on the platform. Kathy Schrank's post about editing and editorial processes. It was really great.
I think it added like a more interactive element to the course as well, because it's whilst it's not an extra step and nobody's saying you have to look at the blog. It's if you want to explore these themes or texts further, or even totally separate but related parts of literature, you've got an option to go on the blog and have a new perspective. And it's also a really great insight, I think, into the sort of research community here at Sheffield and the diverse approaches and
I think
research projects.
That's a really good point. I mean, it's so nice that it's been so positively received, and we've had such generous comments, particularly this week, about how much people have enjoyed it and how much they've got from it, and what a pleasure it's been to take the course. But also, we get a lot from this. I mean, to have an audience that large and to have more conversations and discussions, and for PhD students like Lauren Nixon or Kathleen Hudson, who were interviewed on camera about their research, and then we shared that video on the platform, suddenly they were getting feedback from a vast audience. I mean, Lauren's video, which was all about Jane Austen and the possible connections between Jane Austen and Chatsworth House and other houses, and she sort of suggested her own possible alternatives for which houses Chatsworth was inspired by. Dozens of comments. People were really excited to see that, and they were really complimentary, and they sent follow-up questions. Similar with Kathleen. Kathleen's talk about Gothic servant narratives tied in really nicely to the Radcliffe stuff we were doing on the steps, but opened up a new dimension. And again, Kathleen was getting dozens and dozens of comments, feedback on her research. And I always say that when you're doing research, there's nothing more valuable than a second opinion. And potentially here, we've got over 7,000 second opinions.
Yeah, it's great.
It's extraordinary.
That's what I meant, I suppose, about the interactive element. It's great for learners to be able to interact with both staff and students here at Sheffield, but it's also really great for us to gain feedback and to basically see what people make of our research. Having a new audience.
Yeah, and on the blog as well, the fact that it could respond, we ended up doing, I think, some quite, he says modestly, I think we ended up doing some quite imaginative things. Like we had there was a step on the course where learners were invited to transcribe a manuscript, and I think there was people vocally really enjoyed that. So on the blog we were able to, Jim put together a separate manuscript, and we had learners transcribing a second manuscript and leaving their comments on there. So the blog was also, it was interactive. It wasn't just on broadcast. There was sort of tasks that we could build into that, which was just extraordinary and organic.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose you can't talk about interactivity without thinking about the Hangouts as well.
Yeah, the Hangouts. I mean, last year we did Hangouts, but I think having the chance to do them again made such a difference because we knew how Hangouts worked this time, whereas the first time was quite, it was a new experience for all of us. So this time we were really able to prepare for it and to sort of find out questions prior to the Hangout that were coming up on the platform. So we were able to answer a lot more questions this time, which was great. And we've had so many fantastic questions from learners, stuff that we wouldn't have thought about before.
Yeah, selfishly, that first Hangout, which was Susan and I discussing 18th century print culture and politeness, that mapped extraordinarily well into my research. I mean, if you do what I did and spent 3 or 4 years working on an obscure periodical from 1715 that nobody's ever heard of, to suddenly have a conversation with hundreds of people live, and just to have the freedom to sit with Susan and talk about these issues was a real privilege and a real pleasure. And like you say, the questions were great, not just during the live discussion, but the follow-up questions as well.
Yeah, and being able to log onto the platform after the Hangout and answer more questions and continue that dialogue, I think that was really valuable.
Yeah.
And again, with the blog, same with the blog, it's another interactive element which enhances the course material, because the beauty of Future Learning courses is that you can put in as much or as little time as you can afford. And these extra curricular activities, I suppose, have allowed people to do even more than before.
Yeah. So, Carly, do you think you've got one absolutely favourite thing? It could be a week or a particular discussion or a particular moment in the course.
I suppose selfishly I'd have to go with week 5 because it's the Gothic week, and the Gothic is part of my research. So I really enjoyed hearing people's discussions and being able to get involved in those discussions on the platform. But also it was great to be a part of the Hangout, even though I was kind of in the background. It was really great to be part of that Hangout and continue those dialogues on the platform afterwards.
Yeah, it was a real thrill to see all the year round. I mean, as with all the material condition steps, to see these materials, but to have all the year round there. And I thought, the Dickens discussions, I think, have been very popular this year. Week 5 was a strong week. So, I mean, for the same reasons that you picked week 5, week 3 was a great week for me, to those discussions around the coffee house. To have a bigger audience, to have those conversations and dialogues was great. But if I had to pick one specific moment, I think it would be, I thought that people's creativity and imagination in the step where they were invited to rewrite Darcy's response to Elizabeth's first rejection, I thought just the creativity was staggering. And some of, the vast majority of those, if you gave them to me out of the blue, I think I would think they were austere. I thought that the quality was great, and having Dr. Joe Bray choose one and read it out in the end of the interview.
That was great.
I thought the end of week interviews were I really enjoyed those all the way through.
Yeah, it was nice to summarise everything and sort of encapsulate all the things that we'd discussed in that week. Yeah. But the Darcy step was ace.
It was great, wasn't it?
It was so, as you said, it was so creative.
Yeah.
And I think people really got to grips with free and direct discourse by putting it into practice, rather than just being able to read and identify it. People actually engaged with that and started using it in their own writing, which was really great to see.
Yeah. It's really difficult to pick a favourite bit, because I really do think that I've enjoyed every moment of it. It's the same last year. I think it's such a privilege to be involved and to have these conversations and to it's a nice thing for the School of English, for us as well, as a group, as a team, to put this together, and then to share it with thousands and thousands of people is a total privilege. So yeah, I guess that just leaves it to us to say thank you once again.
It's been great. We've loved it. The second one of the course has been just as enjoyable, if not more so, than the first one.
Yeah.
And we really hope that you come back when we next
when we next again.
Do Country House Returns.
Yeah. So thank you very much to all of our learners. Thanks very much and goodbye.
Bye.